NASA's new rocket would be the most powerful ever. But it's the software that has some officials worried. NASA's newest moon rocket is powered not only by 4 RS-25 engines that, combined, unleash 2 million pounds of thrust, but by 2 solid fuel side boosters that burn 6 tons of propellant a second at such enormous temperatures that during a recent test fire in the Utah desert, the flames turned sand to glass. When it launches, NASA's Space Launch System rocket, a towering 322-foot behemoth, taller than the Statue of Liberty, would be the most powerful rocket ever flown, eclipsing both the Saturn V that flew astronauts to the moon and SpaceX's Falcon Heavy, which has launched commercial and national security satellites, as well as founder Elon Musk's Tesla Roadster on a trip to Mars. But as NASA moves toward the SLS's first flight, putting the Orion spacecraft in orbit around the moon, it's not the rocket's engines that concern officials but the software that will control everything the rocket does, from setting its trajectory to opening individual valves to open and close. Computing power has become as critical to rockets as the brute force that lifts them out of Earth's atmosphere, especially rockets like the SLS, which is really an amalgamation of parts built by a variety of manufacturers. Boeing builds the rocket's core stage, the main part of the vehicle. Lockheed Martin builds the Orion spacecraft. Aerojet Rocketdyne and Northrop Grumman are responsible for the RS-25 engines and the side boosters, respectively. And the United Launch Alliance handles the upper stage. All of those components need to work together for a mission to be successful. But NASA's Aerospace Safety Advisory Panel, ASAP, recently said it was concerned about the disjointed way the complicated system was being developed and tested. At an ASAP meeting last month, Paul Hill, a member of the panel and a former flight and mission operations director at the agency, said the panel has great concern about the end-to-end integrated test capability and plans, especially for flight software. Instead of one comprehensive avionics and software test to mimic flight, he said, there is instead multiple and separate labs, emulators and simulations are being used to test subsets of the software. As much as possible, flight systems should be developed for success, with the goal to test like you fly. In the same way that NASA's operations teams train the way you fly and fly the way you train, Hill said. Also troubling to the safety panel was that NASA and its contractors appeared not to have taken advantage of the lessons learned from the botched flight last year of Boeing's Starliner spacecraft, which suffered a pair of software errors that prevented it from docking with the International Space Station as planned and forced controllers to cut the mission short. NASA has since said that it did a poor job of overseeing Boeing on the Starliner program, and has since vowed to have more rigorous reviews of its work, especially its software testing. The SLS software concerns are the latest red flags for a program that has struggled to overcome a series of cost overruns and setbacks. A slew of government watchdog reports over the years have painted a troubling picture of mismanagement. 3 years ago, the NASA Inspector General reported in an audit that NASA had spent more than $15 billion on SLS, the Orion spacecraft and their associated ground systems between 2012 and 2016. It estimated the total would reach $23 billion. The report chided Boeing, the main contractor, which it said consistently underestimated the scope of the work to be performed and thus the size and skills of the workforce required. Another report, by the Government Accountability Office last year, found that despite Boeing's poor performance, NASA continued to pay it tens of millions of dollars in award fees for scoring high on evaluations. NASA says now that the program is finally on track, with the vehicle undergoing a series of rigorous tests known as the Green Run at the Stennis Space Center in Mississippi that will culminate with a hot fire, the ignition and 8-minute burn of its engines scheduled for later this year. Then it would be moved to the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, ahead of its first launch, currently scheduled for late 2021. NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine said all of the elements that we need for a successful 2024 moon landing are underway as part of the agency's Artemis program. And we're moving rapidly to achieve that goal. A dramatic White House ordered acceleration of the original timetable that foresaw a moon landing in 2028.
Thanks for watching Universal Information and Entertainment TV. Please like and subscribe our channel for more updated videos, news, information and entertainment. See you in next video. Stay tuned.